Welcome to the Body Blossom Self-Love Podcast, brought to you by Kirsty Davies and Annabelle Fontaine. Hi everyone, and welcome to another podcast episode. We are back and we're so excited to be back, aren't we?
Really excited.
It's been a while. We've had lots going on with holidays and the show and what have you, but we're excited to be back, and we've had lots of you messaging in, really interested in getting coping strategies. You know, things are really tough when you're struggling mentally, and I think that it's key to know different ways that you can really help yourself.
Yeah, definitely, because we all need that help to kind of support ourselves. So a lot of times we can't talk to friends or family, or the things that we don't want to vocalise, that if we've got the coping strategies right, that we can sort of self-help.
Absolutely.
It's such a good place to start, and it gives you that confidence to then maybe later open up to other people. But if you know key tips that are going to help you to get yourself out of situations, it really does help.
That's it, and I think the more you get to know yourself, the more you know that when things are coming. Do you know what I mean? When things are, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not feeling too good in myself at the moment. And before that kind of goes round and round and round and gets worse and worse and worse, it's important to then go, actually, but I know these sorts of things that I can start doing now to look after myself.
Definitely. As women, we're really good at helping others and seeing when someone else has got a problem and trying to fix that, but we kind of ignore ours or paper over the cracks a little bit.
Exactly.
So until we get too overwhelmed, and then it all comes out. So you can kind of see those little triggers that are going to happen leading up to when you think you're on a bit of a downward spiral, or if something really bad has happened in your life. How do you cope with that?
Definitely.
Especially if you're trying to cope with other people coping with that.
Exactly. Like you say,
really
you're trying
hard
to help everyone else, and then it just, I think the right word is overwhelmed. You just become overwhelmed. There's too much going on. So we really want to talk today about different ways on how you can help yourself, things specific tools that you can go to.
Things that are going to make you feel better, because the biggest thing about when you are feeling like that is taking action.
Yes.
So even if these tools don't necessarily help individually, the fact that you're taking action to try and do something in itself is going to help you.
Absolutely.
Because you're trying to love yourself, and being kind to yourself is the biggest key to getting over anything.
Definitely. That's so true. And for me, I think I definitely find exercise really helps me. That doesn't mean, doing a crazy hardcore workout, anything like that. It could literally be sticking some music on and having a bit of a dance around. It could be going for a walk and just clearing my mind.
Yeah. Stepping off the world for a bit, stepping away from that situation, whether it's something with like your social media, or if there's something that you love doing, that always helps. But sometimes even if you can't do any of those things, just the stuff that you do in your mind really can help clear things, because your head's such a lonely place to be when something goes wrong.
Yes. And do you know what else I personally find really helpful is journaling. Like just writing things down, like letting it out, and sometimes seeing it, then you can kind of be like, oh, okay, like you can understand your thoughts more, can't you?
Yeah, because once you get it out of your own head, when you try and explain anything to anybody else, or write it in a journal or a diary, whatever you use, because you're having to focus and you're getting that thought out of your head onto the paper, it helps you find the answer without you even getting a reply.
Definitely.
So journaling is such a good way of letting go of things, releasing things as well.
Absolutely. And there's some such good journals that you can follow along as well. You don't need to literally just be writing on a piece of paper. There's loads of journals out there that...
They've got such good prompts, haven't they? And they're sort of like guided, a bit like guided meditation. It's the same principle with journaling, which is really, in the last couple of years, journaling has got really massive, and people have really used it. The old school, when I was younger, I used to use a diary. I used to have little codes so that my parents, if anybody found my diary, they wouldn't know. And then I would write it, "Dear Diary," as if I was writing to a friend, and I would sign it off in the end. And I mean, that's like the old school version of journaling. Now this has developed and evolved so that every day you might start off with an a positive quote, or what is my goal for tomorrow, setting up your day ahead, like looking forward. And then reflection on what put things that are positive today, because no matter how bad, and I honestly say this from the bottom of my heart, doesn't matter how bad a situation is, there is always a positive in it somewhere. It is just tapping into it and finding it. Even when the worst things happen, And there is some awful things that people go through. But out of all of this, there's always some lesson and some sort of growth, or even if it is, even when it comes to something as horrendous as bereavement, there's always this shred of, like, you know, like they say that grief is the price we pay for love. And it is.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
the grief that you feel through a loss is because you've loved so deeply, or even if it's one of those relationships when you're grieving the person that you never really had, or the person that you did have, there's always some sort of positive. I'm not saying by any means that, you know, when you lose someone, oh, this is a positive thing, but there is always something in it that you can draw from it that helps you move forward and get past that hurdle.
Exactly that.
It just takes time. There's some things we can get over in 5 minutes, like, you know, if we're stubbing our toe, if we're late, if we've lost something, if the kids aren't getting ready for school and we've just lost it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like, you're worried what's going to happen. That is very easy to come back from.
Yeah.
Something really big, like if you're going through a divorce, if you've had like a financial crisis.
That's it.
These knocks sometimes take a lot more work, but the principles are still the same. We just need to stop, catch our breath, take a moment, regroup, and really listen to our inner self about what do I need in this moment.
Yeah. 100%.
To help me move past what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And those sort of tools are really beneficial, but it takes a long time to figure out what works for you.
It does, and I think that's the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different things work for different people, and that's absolutely fine. And the key thing is working out what's best for you.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to do, didn't we? We wanted to talk about loads of different ways, you know, you can use different coping strategies. We're going to talk about those, and then you can start putting that into practice and seeing what sits well with you, what actually you think that did really help me.
And they don't. Well, it's not like one size fits all. So, like for us, if we've had a really stressful day and we feel overwhelmed because we've done too much peopling, going in and having a bath and that meantime will help. Other days, if something's overwhelmed you, you might need to talk to your partner or a friend, and that's when you don't want to be left alone. Sometimes you do need that. Sometimes what works for you in one situation doesn't always work in anything.
Absolutely.
But the more you know, the more you've got the tools to use.
Exactly that.
So you can kind of think, well, okay, I know I don't need that, but this might help me.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
you know, I think it is really good. And like we were talking about earlier, that people that, you know, if you suffer panic attacks or you get really anxious, we were talking about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Which is really good because that's something really simple that you can kind of keep hold of, and that you can just, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing.
Exactly. You don't need anything,
You don't need anything. So these sort of methods are really good because you don't need your phone, you don't need the bath, you don't need to have somebody on hand. If you feel like you are getting panicky, then you can use that.
Definitely.
So with that, the first thing is like 5 things that you can see around you. So say like we're in here, I'd be able to see like the chair, the light, the the phone, and like it helps ground you and make you present.
Exactly.
So looking at those 5, and if you're just sitting in the car and it's like, I can see a tree, I can see a bus stop, I can see that, because that takes you into your surroundings. So helps focus that mind back onto where you are.
Definitely.
So
it's being mindful,
things.
isn't it? I think mindfulness is such a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And just noticing, like you say, your surroundings and being mindful of everything, you know.
Just takes you, like, helps focus and
a focus. It allows you to just stop, even for that split second, to stop, you know, what you're worrying about and you're going through, just taking that moment.
Yeah. And the next step would be 4 things that you can touch. So like for us, this feels really soft. So it's like a helpful thing with like self-pacifying, but it's also quite a sensory thing. So when you touch something, so whether it is like what top are you wearing, whether it is pinging your bra strap, you know, your necklace, like 4 things around me that I can touch. So whether it is like your car keys, or if you're like me, you're vaping, you know, like 4 things around me that I can touch. So that's another thing that's going to feed into your sensory, so your like internal nervous system, so you've grounded yourself, then we're working on that. So 3 things you can hear. So whether it's at the moment, I can hear the cars outside there, I can hear the water from the fishes out there, and that makes you really calm the mind, because you have to listen.
Exactly.
So the quieter that we become when our mind's racing with whatever it is that's tipped us over the edge, listening to external things and trying to just find 3 things that you can hear, whether it's the leaves rustling, whether it's the radio in the background, a song. So those 3 things are going to help you.
Absolutely, it just pulls your focus, doesn't it? You're really having to focus on actually what is it that I can hear.
Yeah.
You know, what is it that I can touch? What, you know, it's so powerful.
Because that distracts you as well, and that's helping just that inner voice just calm down.
Definitely.
So that's a good one. So 2 things that you can smell. So I can smell new stuff in here today. And so 2 things that you can smell, whether it's smelling your perfume or just smelling your skin, your own scent, your hair, if you've washed your hair. If you haven't washed your hair, you know, just doing that, that's also feeding into your sensory system.
Definitely.
So, you know, that's going to really help. So 2 things that you can smell. And the last thing is 1 thing that you can taste.
Yeah.
So taste is really good. There's a really calming thing with mastication, which is the chewing.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with other stuff. But that helps. You know, don't knock it till you try it.
Exactly.
But chewing and tasting something really helps. If you've got a chewing gum, if you've got a mint, if you can go, the crunchier the better. When you are stressed, crunching on crisps, something like a Ryvita, something like a cracker, that crunching really helps calm you down.
Absolutely.
So, and you know, a lot of us, like, we might look to comfort eating when we're in a state of being anxious.
I've definitely done that a lot.
But you need something you can actually eat.
Yes.
You know, when it sounds good, when you can hear it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because that's another thing, that also feeds into your sensory system, that you're hearing, you're crunching, that you're chewing. If there's something really lovely that you like eating, so that is going to help you as well.
Yeah,
definitely. But I will write all this down, so add this so that you can have a look at these things, and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method does really help.
Absolutely.
So, so just to go over that again, so it's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
Yeah, very powerful. Honestly, try it. And even if you're not feeling stressed, mindfulness, it is such a powerful thing just to bring you back. So even just do it. Like, even now, just pause us and do it, you know, like, or when you next go out in your car, just sit there for a moment and do those things. Or if you're going for a walk, again, just try it, because it really is very powerful.
Yeah, and I think being present in the moment, you know, is something that, there's this really good quote, and it is, depression is living in the past, anxiety is worrying about the future, but happiness is being in the present.
That's very true, isn't it?
Because the things that tend to worry us are things that have already happened that makes us depressed.
That's it. Then
the
we
things
worry.
That we're anxious about are things that haven't yet happened. But happiness, and the key to happiness, is being in the now.
Definitely.
So whatever happened to me earlier today that didn't make me happy, and whatever I'm going to face when I go home that's making me anxious, I'm really happy that I'm here now, and that's being present.
Absolutely. Yes.
See what I mean?
100%. I love it.
So I think that's quite good, and that kind of frees you from those worries.
Definitely.
Because there's nothing we can do about what's happened.
Exactly.
And we're in zero control of what's to come.
About to happen.
But
exactly.
all we know is how we feel in the here
That's it,
and now.
and what we can do right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We don't have control of what happens in the future, and like you say, what happens in the past, but what we do have control over is our here and now, and what we're focusing on, what it is we want to be doing, what it is, how it is we're feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
and you know, like, life is a choice. There's always a choice. It's like we can choose to be happy. And it's okay to choose to be happy.
Absolutely.
I want to choose to be happy every day. Every day I wake up and I think today's going to be a good day.
Absolutely.
Even if I know that gods are not in line, that it's probably going to look like it's going to be a bad day, it can only be bad if I allow it to be bad.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not in control of, like, the external stuff, but I am in control of how I deal with them.
Yeah.
So using those sort of tools really does help. So, and like you said, exercise is a really good thing for you, isn't it?
Definitely.
So the going for a walk, I think they've just said, haven't they, like, before it was 10,000 steps they recommended a day, they've just reduced it to 4,000. There's a benefit from that, because sometimes people get a bit overwhelmed and think, I can't do 10,000 steps. I haven't done that. You know, I work in a salon. I hardly do any steps because I'm stationary so much of my day, and like trying to get those, you have to physically get out and do those. But they're saying now that they reckon 4,000. But any step,
exactly that. Just going out for a walk. You know, just take it, even if it's a 10-minute walk. Taking that moment out and try not to, you know, be on your phone or anything like that. Really try and be in that present moment, you know, and really notice what's around you. And for me, I find gratitude has helped me massively. Like on my self-help journey, it's definitely been the gratitude over anything else that's really helped me deal with situations and understand things, because I've gone, do you know what? Even though these things are very hard, I'm so actually grateful that I either have these people in my life or that I've got the life that I have. I'm able to go out for this walk right now, you know, whatever it might be. I feel like it really helps clear your mind if you just come away from that technology for a moment. Like I say, even if it's 10 minutes, just breathe, you know, like concentrate on your breathing. Just taking that moment for you is so important.
Yeah, it really does help in those situations. We were saying earlier as well, weren't we, that breaking a habit takes 30 to 60 days. So sometimes that, you know, there's things like coping strategies that we sometimes do, like whether it's smoking, whether we turn to alcohol, whether it's recreational drugs, there's things that people use as a coping strategy. Comfort eating.
Definitely used to do
all
that
these
a lot.
things, even though you don't, they're not always the most productive of ways of coping with stuff. Everything can be broken. So if it works for you now, but you can think, right, I don't particularly want to keep doing this. I know that giving up drinking for me has massively changed my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's been a year and a half since I haven't had a drink. Doesn't bother me at all. I didn't set out on thinking that I was never going to drink again. I just got to the point where I was like, no, that's enough. I don't want to do that anymore. Doesn't make me feel good. It used to really help as a coping strategy. I know when I suffered like bereavements, I was very much like, well, I need to go and get a bottle of wine. Any problem, I need to go and get a glass of wine. I need a glass of wine.
And mine was like that with chocolate, cake, like anything. Because in that split moment, you feel satisfied over something and you feel happy because you've had to do that. But it is for a split moment, isn't it? And I think that's the key. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't change anything. All it gives you is that split moment of
like
comfort.
A temporary fix.
Exactly.
And a lot of things means that you then are avoiding the actual situation.
And the emotion. You know, you can't understand what emotion it is that you're having if you're just like, oh, okay. Because I know that's exactly what I was doing with food. It was like a case of, right, I'm feeling some sort of emotion, just give me some food.
Yeah.
You know, give me some food, make me feel better for a split second and I'll pretend everything's fine. I didn't actually take time to realise what emotion I was feeling and why and how I could move on from that.
And eating your feelings is a really common thing.
Yes.
And then it's that cycle that you've whether it was binge eating, whether it was just hitting the chocolate, that you then feel so guilty about it, that then brings out another issue on top of what started you off in the first place. Then you get the self-loathing, then you get the, oh, well, I've already ruined it, so I might as well just carry on. So then you get the overindulging because you think, well, you know, I might as well start again tomorrow. That start again tomorrow, that's that whole thing about
or
that being
week,
in the present.
Monday.
Who starts a diet on a Wednesday? You've got to get the weekend out. And then there's that avoidance because it's like, well, I'm going away. I've got this dinner to go to. I've got this party. And then it's then the guilt that then that throws up with you.
Exactly.
It's not
It's
good.
just you then have another emotion to have to deal with and something else to worry about. Whereas actually if you take time to realise, you know, what is it? You know, it's about finding a different coping mechanism other than that, like going for your walk, like doing your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's actually doing that to then realise. And journaling, again, a brilliant thing to just write down, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I can feel really overwhelmed and I don't really know why, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, and then I write it down and then I realise.
And then it might come out.
Exactly.
And the thing is, as women, we're so hormonal, we don't need a reason to be upset. We don't need a reason. There doesn't always have to be a reason to feel the way that we're feeling. And a lot of it we don't realise is because it is a hormonal thing. Yeah. So there's those imbalances that we also go through. It's okay just to say, I'm just fed up. Yeah. I don't know why I'm feeling sad. I just am.
Yeah.
you know.
And I think that's the thing with depression as well, isn't it? You know, I know after I had Mickey, I fell into that, you know, depressed state, and I was like, I don't feel happy and I don't know why. You know, I feel sad and I feel nothing. Nothing, just... But there was no reason to it. And that's really, really difficult to come out of.
Feeling nothing is such a dark, lonely place.
It really is.
Because you just feel dead behind the eyes. It's like when you feel like all your spark's gone, when there's nothing. To be angry is quite a powerful thing. Yeah. And there's that release with that frustration that you can shout and scream, or if you need to go and
you can understand it.
You can understand that you're angry.
Yeah.
When you're happy, you can understand that. When you're sad and you're crying, you can understand. When you feel nothing. It is so difficult. Yeah, really because difficult. It's like everything becomes pointless.
Yeah.
Because I feel nothing.
Yeah. And you're just like fed up because you're like, I feel nothing.
And
like,
you know you used to feel.
Yeah.
And you want to feel.
You want to, yeah, exactly.
You want to feel something, but there's nothing there. That's really difficult.
It's so difficult. And I think the key thing that I found was surrounding myself with those people that really helped lift me up. And do you know, and just take it day by day, moment by moment. Don't worry about it lasting however long it's going to last, because you don't know how long it's going to last, you know, like... It's one of those things, sometimes it just takes a bit of time. You know, maybe you do need to speak to your doctor. You know, if this is going on for a long period of time, it is very important to seek that help. But definitely surrounding yourselves with people that are going to look after you and lift you up is so, so powerful and very important.
And people that it's okay to not be okay around.
Exactly.
That's like one of the, you know, because that face of a clown that we all put on and saying everything's okay and we're fine. The people that you can ugly cry in front of, that you can turn up looking a mess, feeling a mess, that you've got no enthusiasm for life.
Exactly.
They don't necessarily want anything from you. They just want to be there to help.
They just want to be there. Exactly.
You want those friends around you that want to turn up and be like, right, I'm taking over. I'm going to cook. I'm going to clean. Don't worry about the washing up.
Yeah, we're going to put a film on and we're just going to sit and watch the film. We don't have to. We don't have to over talk about things. If you want to talk, I'm here, and you know you can talk to them.
But that's that feeling of that safe space.
Yes, exactly.
And that comfort that you get from being around people that, you know, like we said before, it's like food for the soul. When we're together, I always go away feeling better.
Me too, 100%.
Even if I'm feeling a little bit rubbish before, it's never time wasted when I spend time with you. And it's always like, I feel that's really good because I know that you just get me and it'd be alright if I'm not okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you don't want anything from me because it's a safe space, I'm not going to be judged.
Always.
So that's the kind of thing that really does help with that. And like you're saying, the seeking of medical help does help. Yeah. So a lot of people, if they are suffering from depression, with the imbalances that you have, being medicated really does help. People have got such a stigma against antidepressants and they don't like, because they feel it shows a sign of weakness, that we can't cope, that you feel, you know, and also sometimes with antidepressants when you first get on them, that they do actually take you further downhill before they take you back up. Because depending on what type of antidepressants you have, whether your bath is overflowing or the plug's out and everything's just draining away, and depending if you feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed, there's so much in just finding that balance. And sometimes antidepressants don't work for everybody.
No, absolutely.
And they do take a lot of time to find the right one. But that combined with tools to help yourself. A therapist is really good if you can speak to a therapist, because I'm really blessed. I've got Kirsty and I've got like a little therapist that I don't have to pay for. But it's good, isn't it? Because friends are those therapists. Yeah. Not everybody has got good friends.
Exactly. 100%. If you don't feel like you have that support network around you, it's definitely a really good idea to seek that.
And like there is so many good therapists and there's so many different forms of therapy now.
Exactly.
So it doesn't just have to be like cognitive therapy or, you know, like the CBT or like the lying on the couch. There's so many alternative therapies that you can have. Whether it was something like you wanted to go and have Reiki, whether it was like seeing a massage therapist, because sometimes like the body holds stress in such a strong way that it can have a physical way of, like, I was watching something about the neutrons in your brain, that they can do so many different things. So if like they're feeling scared, it can also present in a pain in your body at the same time.
The brain's very powerful. Oh my goodness.
Is. And so what we tell ourselves, our negative thoughts can manifest physically.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, being kind to yourself, speaking kind words to yourself really does help as well. But, you know, there's so many things, whether it is like going to have a massage as well, that really helps.
Yes, definitely.
Because you're also taking time for yourself, but you're also getting that blood supply working around your body. If a lot of people suffer a lot of trauma, like whether they've got living in permanent pain, like constant pain is something that really gets a lot of people down.
And I don't think you realise it until you're in pain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you're like,
it's debilitating.
Oh my goodness. Like if someone has to deal with this on a oh, my heart goes out to those people massively.
Constant pain, chronic fatigue, all the things that people do suffer. That really, you have to be so mentally strong to each day, because you know the next day it's not. When we're feeling unwell, we kind of hope every day we're going to get a little bit better.
Exactly.
When you're living in constant pain, knowing that you're probably not going to feel better tomorrow, if anything, you might feel a little bit worse. That is when you really have to work on that mental strength to carry you through.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
and talking about kind words, positive affirmations, you know, like writing down, especially when you're feeling, if you're getting to that dark time where you're like, oh, I'm really struggling, repeating positive affirmations is so powerful, you know, like even if you don't believe them, it's absolutely fine. When they say fake it till you make it and all that, it's actually so true. It's so powerful what it does to your brain when you constantly repeat those, because if you keep repeating it daily, you know, you will eventually believe it. You know, like
it will. It's the same thing with, if you look in the mirror and you smile at yourself, your body doesn't know whether it's your brain doesn't know whether it's a fake smile or a real smile. So those endorphins are going to be released the same as if someone smiled at you. Yeah. It sounds crazy, but the positive affirmations, the being kind to yourself, looking at yourself with kind eyes, looking in the mirror and loving yourself will give you those hormonal releases that you need, even if you don't feel like it.
Exactly. So,
you know,
this whole fake it till you make it. You know,
my whole life has been faked it till I made it.
Yeah, me too. 100%.
Honestly,
every day I'm faking it till I make it.
Yeah, and you think because it does happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to. If I tell myself I'm going to have a bad day, the chances are I really am.
Because you, as well, you're going to pick up on all those negatives and those bad things that do happen, because you've already switched your mind into that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going, I'm going to have a really good day today, you know, and you're pulling out all these positive affirmations, you're naturally putting your brain into that positive state. So it's going to really start noticing, actually, oh, that went well today. Oh, my hair looks nice today. You know, you naturally see these things. It's, absolutely incredible.
Do you remember ages ago I was saying to you about how I'm starting to notice when I'm being lucky, and you told me to stop doing that. You said, stop doing it. Stop saying I'm lucky, but be grateful.
Exactly. So not I'm lucky to have my car. It's actually, I'm grateful to have my car because I know I've worked hard for that.
Yeah,
you know?
And it really changed my mindset.
Doesn't
that really helped me. And I used to do things like when I pulled up in front of work and there was a parking space, I'd go, oh, I'm lucky I've got a space, because I was trying to bring luck into my life. And you're like, no, say grateful. So now I'm like, oh, I'm really grateful that someone moved and I've got a space.
I love that. It's so good.
But it really helped.
And
I remember the conversation when you told me that. Do. And it was like,
so
okay. And since you told me that, it stuck. Because that's the one thing. If anything that we're saying today rings true to you, I promise you it will stick. Because the truth does. Things that resonate with us stick. There we go.
100%.
Okay, I'm going to put that into my daily practice. Like our journaling, I'll put that in my daily practice. We both picked up our journals again for the first time in a while, didn't we? Started journaling on the same day again. It was like, that's weird, but we both obviously just felt like we need to start journaling again, because life makes us so busy that we stop to prioritise ourselves.
Exactly.
And these coping strategies prioritise us, and we are so important.
So important. And I think, you know, when we're living such busy lives and we're trying to look after everybody else, actually, by looking after yourself means you can look after everyone else better.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not going to get to that point of like, boom, gone, I've hit the brick wall, I'm no good to anyone. You know, whereas actually if you're doing those daily things that, you know, so many people have said to me, oh, I feel like I'm being really selfish. And I'm like, no. It's literally like the complete opposite. You're not being selfish by looking after yourself, because you're doing it so that you feel good, so you can help others feel good. You know, like I definitely know the more time, you know, I take for myself and I go, I need to look after myself, the better mum I am, the better wife I am, because I'm in such a better headspace mentally, and I don't, things don't make me, all these toys around.
Yeah.
Even though it winds me up, I can deal with it much better because I know I'm taking time for myself, and I just take a deep breath, and I know those mechanisms to do. When the kids are running riot and driving me crazy, I know that I can just take a deep breath, listen to myself and go, do you know what? I'm just so grateful I have them around. This is winding me up, don't get me wrong, but I'm just grateful I have them here.
Yeah.
So if there's a few toys over the floor, we'll deal with it. You can really deal with things so much better.
My daughter's just come back from travelling, and I missed her. I just didn't feel complete without having all my children in the same postcode area. But now she's back, when everything's missing in the house, I just tell myself, well, you missed her. Be grateful that she's here to steal your makeup again, and that your shampoo and conditioner's missing out the bathroom when you're like mid-wash, and it's like, why is that? But like all these things that annoy us, when they say that we have to help ourselves. When you're in an aeroplane, the first thing they tell you is when that mask comes down, you put it on you first before you even try and give anybody else any oxygen, because if you can't breathe, nobody else, you can't help anybody else to breathe. So true. That is such a good way of thinking, right, this is why it is never selfish to prioritise yourself.
100%.
So it is
so important.
So the other things that we were looking at was emotionally supportive relationships, which we kind of covered already, which really does help. We've talked about this in our friendship podcast, getting rid of the ones that aren't the supportive one, breaking those ties with the people that are negative, the family members that you just feel rubbish about when you see them, that might judge you, that are never helpful, that always have an opinion. Those are the ones we need to cut ties with, and we need to really promote our supportive relationships, because that is such good helping us to cope when we've got the tools for ourselves, but then we've got these external people that we know love us. So that really helps. Asking others to help, engaging in problem solving. So that's really good. So sometimes when things go really wrong, like my car's broke or whatever, it's like, rather than just focusing on what's gone wrong, is how can I fix this? So engage in making that action, those active steps that we can then put in place, that helps bring us back out.
Yes.
Because we're doing something.
Exactly that.
So
we're overcoming those hurdles.
Yeah.
It's a hurdle. Yeah. It can be, there's a, what's the word? Resolution.
Yeah, there's a resolution. There's always a resolution.
There's a resolution.
There's always a resolution, and there's a solution.
That's it.
So something you can resolve it, and there's always a solution to it. So every problem can be fixed. My saying is, we don't see problems, we see
solutions.
Exactly. So we never see problems, we see solutions.
Yes.
It's a doll's house motto. So I think that really does help.
I love it.
So emotionally focused coping is the crying, the eating, the alcohol that we talked about. That doesn't always help, but the journaling and the positive things really does help. So these are like the different ways that we kind of cope. So the problem focused coping, the emotion focused coping, the social support, so that's the friends, the counselling and the doctors, so looking for external services, religious coping, so prayers.
Yeah.
Prayers sometimes really help. I was brought up Catholic. I had to say my prayers every night.
Yeah.
But a lot of people find comfort in prayers.
Absolutely.
So, and looking for a higher being or a higher purpose, whether it is that you're a bit more paganistic, that you look into nature.
Yeah.
So, me and my new moons, and every time that I'm whenever there's a new moon, we just had a really big moon, I'm there manifesting, writing everything down, burning it in the garden, doing all my things, folding out, putting out a glass of water, drinking the water the next morning. My rituals that I do, I don't care if everyone thinks I'm mad. I feel better.
That's exactly that, and that's what you've got to do it for. Who cares?
And I think I'm not harming anybody.
Exactly.
If I want to pray, I'm not harming anybody.
Exactly.
If I want to start devil worshipping, I don't recommend that, but you can. A lot of people look at tarot cards, they look at if they've suffered a bereavement, if they're going to go and see someone that's into mediumship, if they're going to look to try and find that comfort. Sometimes we just need that.
Exactly.
Sometimes we need to go to a group, sometimes we need to go to the church. I mean, churches are the most beautiful, peaceful places, most of them. Apart from Vatican City, that gave me the good. But other than that, I mean, most churches, they are a place of worship and beauty, and it is a place of love.
Absolutely.
So anything like that does help you. If it helps, do it.
Exactly that. Like, I think we get so hooked up on worrying about what everyone else thinks.
It's a
I'm so
personal
over
thing,
that thing, and I think
though.
it's so key to go, do you know what? It doesn't matter
No.
what anybody else thinks. If it makes you feel better, you gotta do it.
If you're not hurting anybody else,
Exactly.
and I think absolutely dive into that. So that really does help. Meaning making, so trying to see the positive, which has always been, even as a young child, my go-to, rather than the why me.
Yeah.
Woe is me. Why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. Like, you know,
that's not going to change anything. That's only going to make you feel worse.
Yeah, because a lot of time, especially nowadays, we look at other people's life and go, well, their life's working out for them. Why is it not working out for me? Like, they've got everything that I want. Why haven't I got it? But the thing is, we never know what anybody else's story is. We don't know how things affect them. All we know is how it affects us. They're probably not concerned with us. We don't need to worry about anybody else's happiness other than our own.
Absolutely.
Or their success, their failures. You know, a lot of people look at other people's failures and sometimes that makes them feel better, which is also a very negative place to be in. So looking for the positive really helps us cope, rather than the why me.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel sorry for yourself. I'm all for feeling sorry for yourself. Have a day where you just take a moment, but then you've kind of got to lick your wounds, stand up and keep going.
And know that you're only human and you're going to make mistakes as well, and that's absolutely fine. I've made many mistakes, trust me, but I've learnt from them, and every time that's happened I've gone, do you know what have I learnt from this? What can I take from this that's going to help me move forward? And I think that's so powerful as well.
And we don't always see it in the time, it's only a reflection. Reflection's a really good thing. You know, like, it's such a good work tool. Like, when something happens wrong at work, whether it's with customer service or anything that you were going to do, reflecting on back of, like, what could we have done different? How could we make this better next time? And that comes along with the problem solving element that we were saying.
Exactly.
So the reflecting back on when I was in this really dark place, like this morning, wasn't having a great day. I put on my loudest, like my favourite ever song is Insomnia. It's my ringtone on my phone.
Yeah.
And I had to do the housework. I had the plumber come in. Everything was upside down. And I put on Insomnia as loud as Alexa would play her. I was dancing around the kitchen. My mood in my 4.5 minute song went from like 0 to 10.
Music for me is so powerful.
And I was dancing like an absolute, in my pyjamas doing the cleaning. But honestly, just thinking about it now makes me smile, because then afterwards I thought, good for me. I knew what I needed.
Exactly. And that's it. And that's what we're literally trying to say in this podcast is try everything. Know those go-tos that actually, you know, if I'm feeling a bit like this, I know that I need to do this. Or if I'm feeling a bit like that, then I know that that's going to help me.
I mean, you've put together some playlists, haven't you, as well? Which is
some
sometimes
feel-good playlists.
Feel good. So, honestly, I think music really does elevate you. Like I was saying about with the faith, like worship, when they sing to praise things, it is part of worship. And, like, you know, that time to lift your spirits. I'm all about the good vibrations. Lifting our vibration and those negative energies, just like bouncing them off, you know. And I said to you before, if I've got people around me that are just not good for me, put my little bubble of light, they're going to deflect all this negative energy, and then lifting my own vibration. This morning I lifted my vibration with my listening to my music, my little bit of faithless just helped me. And then I chose that the rest of my day was going to be good.
Exactly.
And it progressively did.
That. Oh, it's so good. Make sure you search on Spotify, Body Blossom, what did I call it? Feel Good playlist.
Yeah.
If you search it on Spotify, it'll come up, and I've just put loads of feel good music in there.
So there's some really good songs on there.
There really is.
Guided meditation. Meditation's a really good key. You've done some meditation. You've done some ones, and we're going to be putting out some more of that, aren't we?
Exactly.
So that's going to be good through the self-love company. So that's going to be really good. But in the meantime, until they're all up and running, a guided meditation really does help. There's so much on YouTube.
There is. It's brilliant.
So much.
Yeah, and Spotify,
you don't have to think.
all those sorts of places. You can just
And we've all got access to stuff like that. Most people have got an Alexa as well.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm upset or if I need calming, I listen to like rain sounds.
Yes.
That really helps. And the crackling fire one really does. And that white noise, because those voices in your head sometimes, like that in the when I struggle to sleep, I'm really bad at sleeping, and that I find really helps.
Yeah.
And the storm, where you get the thunder and
those
storm,
natural sounds.
nature is key.
Oh, it is.
So the nature, the meditation, the journaling,
Yes.
the lifting the vibration,
Definitely.
the finding the positive.
Yes.
The tools that we've kind of talked about today, but together, or just one of them, or just variations, I promise you they'll make you feel better, because
They really
it does.
will. Absolutely.
And because the biggest thing is you're taking action.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, so
exactly
that's what
that.
we need
You've
to
got
do.
this. You really have got this. And like we've said, we're going to post all these coping mechanisms. So
I'll write a blog on it. And then also, we're always here. So if anybody wants to talk to us about that, because there is a problem shared is a problem halved.
Absolutely.
Which it is. And sometimes we do need that help. And for those people that don't have those people they can reach out to, we are here.
100%.
So we are here. So if you need anything, then just get in touch.
Absolutely.
You need a
Thank you so I know. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.